When you look at the best-performing European economies, Switzerland repeatedly appears near the top of the list. Indeed, the country boasts one of the most advanced and highly developed economies in the world, let alone the EU. Sure, Germany and France have much higher GDPs, but it's important to remember that Switzerland's entire population is just shy of 9 million people, a tenth of the number of people found in Germany. So, how did this tiny alpine nation with the same number of citizens as New York City manage to create such a successful and resilient economic bloc? The answers might surprise you. If you were asked to draw a map of Western Europe, you would be forgiven for forgetting to sketch in Switzerland. The tiny country has an area of just 16,000 square miles, most of which is covered by mountains, or one of the 7,000 lakes. And despite being tucked away between Italy, France, and Germany, it has virtually no military history after 1815, which is when the Swiss began their long-standing tradition of neutrality. Yet, Swiss products can be found all over the world, and they are often looked at with the highest regard. Anyone who knows economics, European or otherwise, knows about Switzerland. In fact, the country's economic and social policies have made it one of the best, if also one of the most expensive, places to live in the world. Its cities are notoriously livable. Its life expectancy is the second highest in the world after Japan. Its unemployment rates are incredibly low, while Swiss salaries and job security are incredibly high. Switzerland's nominal GDP for 2023 is estimated at $870 billion, earning the tiny country a respectable international rank of 20th. However, whenever discussing such matters, the term per capita is what we really need to pay attention to. Because when you look at GDP in terms of population, Switzerland is typically ranked somewhere in the 2 to 6 range. Over the past few years, GDP growth has held steady. Inflation has remained under control, and the Human Development Index continues to outperform many of the country's neighbors. And this is made all the more impressive when you consider that Switzerland's workforce is only around 5 million people, the rest being either too young to work or retired. Hearing all this, you might be thinking, good for Switzerland. Obviously, even those of us who live in countries with struggling economies can appreciate a country that seemingly has its collective stuff together. But the question we want to address with this video is how? How did a small country with limited natural resources and a limited population become such an economic heavy hitter? Moreover, what can other countries learn from Switzerland's near-perfect economic track record? Remember how we mentioned that Switzerland is staunchly anti-war? Well, that's putting it mildly. Though it possesses a strong military and an arsenal of nuclear weapons, the country has not participated in a conflict in 208 years. Even during World War II, when it was pinned between two of the Axis powers, the country did not throw its hat into the figurative ring, choosing instead to take in refugees when possible and use its Red Cross to provide humanitarian aid. Though this made the country something of a global pariah, considering the moral implications of that conflict, its leaders at least stuck to their guns, despite not picking them up. As a result, Switzerland is considered one of the most politically stable countries in the world, and economic markets love stability. This means that regardless of how war-torn European soil became, Switzerland could always stay open for business. Switzerland was also very quick to capitalize on the potential of a little thing called global finance. Nearly every James Bond movie will mention having money transferred to a Swiss bank at some point or another. That's the kind of reputation the country's financial institutions have for excellence, and, let's say, a hands-off approach to what their clients do with the cash they deposit. You see, Switzerland is absolutely obsessed with property rights and business freedom. If you have money, you can put it to work in Switzerland without many questions. As such, Switzerland has successfully attracted foreign direct investment to the tune of billions of dollars a year. The aforementioned stability comes into play here as well. Both businesses and individuals love the country's efficient legal system, low corporate taxes, and overall lack of risk. Moreover, the country has been at the forefront of financial innovation. This simply allows it to serve its customers better than the competition. At this point, you might get tired of hearing the word stability, but that really is the overarching theme behind what makes Switzerland's economy so darn impressive. As a landlocked country, the entire population seems obsessed with not making waves for themselves, their neighbours, or their visitors. As a result, those parties are more than happy to put their money, jobs, and other investments there. The Swiss franc has even evolved into what's known as a safe haven currency. So, in 2008, the franc remained relatively secure despite the US housing market crisis ricocheting around the financial world like a bull in a china shop. Though the country wasn't completely unscathed, it came out of the crisis without amassing loads of debt, something economists still refer to as the Swiss miracle. Earlier in the video, we mentioned that Switzerland isn't really blessed with lots of usable land. That is, of course, unless you count skiing. As a result, the agriculture sector contributes very little to the economy as a whole. Fortunately, Swiss leaders have managed to diversify the country's production into sectors with lots more growth potential. This has allowed them to simply import the food they need while exporting items like high-end watches, of which the country is the world's leading provider, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and IT. And that joke about skiing over farming is not entirely untrue. After all, Switzerland is a major tourism hub, with hotels, transport, and recreation adding billions of francs to the country's yearly economy. As any financial expert will tell you, diversity is stability. By not relying on any one sector to carry it through from year to year, Switzerland can maintain consistent growth even when disaster wreaks havoc abroad. Alfred Nobel, after whom the Nobel Prize is named, was born in Sweden. However, Switzerland has produced more than 27 Nobel Prize winners since 1901, which is insane considering its small population. However, if you know the country's long history of innovation and scientific research, such accolades are to be expected. You see, Switzerland has spent more than a century investing heavily in education, science, and technology, which has fostered an environment conducive to innovation. Swiss universities and research institutions regularly collaborate closely with industries, leading to groundbreaking advancements in tons of fields. Take the watches mentioned a few moments ago. There's a reason people are willing to pay big bucks for a watch with a Swiss flag on the back. After all, Swiss watchmakers have been pioneers in precision timekeeping since the 16th century. The country is also home to several major pharmaceutical firms and has a strong presence in the life sciences industry. Companies like Novartis and Roche, headquartered in Basel, have made significant contributions to drug discovery and development. At the same time, the country's prestigious colleges attract talent from both within and outside its borders, resulting in cutting-edge research in biotechnology, genetics, and neuroscience. Switzerland has also been at the forefront of innovation in information technology and telecommunications, hosting major global corporations like ABB, Logitech, and Swisscom. And that focus on education doesn't just translate into the sciences, but also trickles into the Swiss workforce. Indeed, these men and women are considered among the most skilled and educated in the world, which gives them vast employability in numerous sectors. And because they live in one of the most expensive places in the world, these workers are also extremely competitive. Such competition works at the national level, business level, and personal level, boosting productivity across the board and helping to make Swiss professionals, and the companies they work for, better by the year. This also contributes to the country's ultra-low poverty and homelessness, the latter of which can be measured in the low thousands. Despite the lack of land, Switzerland has managed to turn itself into a major global exporter. How? Well, in many cases, the country has either found a niche market like chocolate or watches, or a competitive market where it can outdo the competition. And while its geography might not be ideal for farming, it is perfect for exporting. After all, the country is located in the heart of Europe, which provides numerous convenient trade routes to major European markets. Recognizing this early on, Swiss leaders invested a ton in transportation infrastructure. The country also boasts an extensive network of well-maintained roads, railways, and air transport facilities. And thanks to those skilled and competitive workers we mentioned, the country's logistics companies have developed a decades-old reputation for punctuality and reliability. But there are politics at work here too, because despite what many people think, Switzerland is not a member of the European Union. Nonetheless, Switzerland benefits from numerous trade agreements and treaties that provide it with access to loads of profitable international markets. This helps minimize barriers to trade and ensure the smooth delivery of millions of products a day.